And good Thursday, everybody. Welcome to Rebel Religion in the News. I'm Jerry O'Lennon, my co host Alfredo Romero, the pastor of Rock of Life Fellowship, and one of our regular guests, Pastor Tim Rule of Pleasant Valley Baptist Church.
Great to be here.
I want to get right to something that was really irritating, and I don't think it's irritating, but maybe it's not as bad as we make it out to be because you just kind of roll your eyes and say, "What do you expect?" And maybe we make too much of it as Christians. Portland is under fire for hosting its annual Christmas tree lighting ceremony and not having any mention of the Christian holiday. And leaders of the event instead waved a Palestinian flag and led the crowd in chants, "Free, free, free Palestine," is what they sang. And the event was decked out in Christmas lights, which is good. They had a Christmas tree. They had Santa Claus. I don't think Christians are upset with Santa Claus. That's not what it's about, but okay, good kids like Santa Claus. But did not promote any mention of Christmas during their lighting ceremony. It seems to me, well, first of all, I think we assume as Christians that everybody knows what Christmas is all about. And maybe that's an assumption we shouldn't be making.
No, a couple of weeks ago we had a guest speaker from the Gideon at our from the Gideons International at our church, and he gave some testimonies about one time one of his people, the messengers of the word, encountered somebody who never heard the word the Bible. She didn't even know it existed. And he goes, you would think that's unbelievable in this day of time that people who never heard the Bible. But this young woman says, no, I don't know anything about the Bible.
Are Christians doing something wrong if people like that are unaware? What's not happening that should be happening?
I just think we have a lot of work to do.
Well, the thing is, we're successful, and when you're successful, a lot of people say this: I don't need God, I don't need a crutch. But you go through difficult times, and I guarantee you, boy, oh God, I need God. And so it really is a catch-22. People that come from a rough home or rough life, they want to provide something nicer for their children. But they usually take away chores or take away hand-me-downs, things like that. But those are the things that actually build a character. And so it's that catch-22. We live in a nation. We live in the greatest nation on the face of this earth, and we do. We live in abundance. We have more food than we can eat. We have more clothes than we can put on, and so we have it all. So why do I need God? And that's too bad, because God's more interested in our character than it is our circumstances. And so Christmas comes around. It's like, okay, give me a list of what you want. Give me a list of what you need. Making a list to say, here, give this to me. I know people think that's okay. I just think, where do we kind of get off track of just being benevolent and helpful and kind and loving? And so this is that time. And we kind of said this cast we're doing here may be like little scrambled eggs, but may I just suggest to everybody, we don't really forget what Christmas is all about. Now, if you want to promote Palestine, then take a Palestinian holiday and raise your flag and chant, all right? But to take a Christian holiday and try to change it in a Christian country, we're way off base here. We're way off base here.
What you're saying is adversity is something that God brings upon us to bring us to Him.
No doubt about it.
Right. But there are those who will, let's take two men.
Yep.
One of them they have the same adversity. One of them sees it as a blessing, that I'm going to overcome this adversity, and I'm going to become a better person because of it. I'll have a happier life because of it. I'll have a more fulfilling life because of this adversity. The other person who experiences the exact same situation and the consequences of what's happened to them views it as, look what God did to me.
Yeah.
Look what He did to me. Why should I believe in your God? How is it that two people could have... let's just say, for the sake of arguing, the exact same experience, but view things entirely differently?
Well, guarantee it, the second one has never read the Bible. The second one does not know God. We've heard this, probably all of us, this is going to hurt me more, it's going to hurt you. Yeah. I said, well, give me that belt. I'll try to do my best, And so, but we then knew the lesson that, to overcome evil, you have to have good. And sometimes good has boundaries and has restriction, it has discipline. And so for the second one says, oh, it's all God's fault. He doesn't know God. God is not here to hurt anyone. God is here to help us. And we understand that, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, we do. We walk in dark places. But He is with me. He's always with me. He'll see me through. Oh, that's the part I need to know.
This is why it is so important to have good parents, isn't it?
I'll say this: good parents and good churches and good biblical teaching, because you gotta have good parents who know not anything about Christmas or the law or anything like that, and so they're good morals, things like that. But you can have good churches, and churches are supposed to be religious and following God, but there's a lot of churches that don't do that. So to have a church where parents attend to learn very biblical principles, that's the key to successful living, no doubt in my mind.
Oh yeah, yeah, and the community around you, friends around you that standing on that same foundation. I mean, that's even why I go a little bit deeper. That's why God tells us to be equally yoked.
Yep.
It's very difficult to have two different views on life and a foundation of your belief structure, and have somebody that is completely opposite than you.
You know, there are Christians though, and I would sometimes I put myself in that category. When I hear somebody who's going through a difficult time, I maybe try to help them out, but I don't. I'm not quick enough on my feet to say, maybe you should, try to say a prayer. You know, and or maybe we're afraid to. Maybe we'll be like, well, the person's going to roll their eyes. You know, and but there has to be that courage to stand and say, try doing this. I had an experience out front of Enloe Hospital where this woman came by and she had a scar on her neck. And I said, how are you? And I said, are you here because for this event at Enloe? And she says, no. I was just removed from the hospital. And I said, oh, well, what happened? She said, I cut my neck. I tried to commit suicide. And she was an attractive woman in probably about 50s. And for once, I think I did the right thing. I said, you know what you ought to do? Were you ever a little girl and you went on your knees in front of your bed and said a prayer, now I lay me down to sleep? Why don't you try that tonight? See what happens. Maybe it'll work. And that was one of the rare times I actually thought quickly on my feet to be able to say what I think may have been a positive thing in planting a seed. Not to brag that I've done anything
No, no,
tremendous.
no.
I don't know. But a lot of times people are afraid to say something like that because they're afraid they're not good enough and they're not going to be able to convince somebody to do something they should.
Well, I think when you work with tragedy long enough, when you are at a bedside of someone overdosing or someone dying or someone and a plethora of different situations, you just say, I'm not going to let that one happen again. I'm not going to let that one happen again. My next door neighbor, I live in a cul-de-sac out in the country. There's 6 homes. 2 homes have had suicides. I feel horrible. I'm on the same block. I'm thinking, and they know me. They call me pastor. They know the church and everything like that. But still, people make those decisions. Last night, I was talking to a man and new to our church, been there twice. And I just asked, and he's really down. He's really difficult. I said, sir, 54. I said, just let me ask a question. Did you ever think, he's in the Chico Rescue Mission, did you ever think at age 54 you'd be in a Chico Rescue Mission with not anything to show for your life? He said, no. I said, sir, watch this. For 54 years, whatever process of thinking that you've been using, honestly, has not worked. So don't be mad at you, okay? It's not the person, it's the process, the system, the principles you've been using. You change those things, and this place will help you, will teach you. You have a better outlook on life. We had the service last night, and Pastor preached, and after the service, he came back to me. He says, I'm going to start a new process of just thinking differently, talking differently, being around different people, and I'll have better results. And that's so true. So I want people just to think, this is the season. This is Christmas. Christ came to give us a better life. I love what he said, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. Jesus said, that's fair. But I say unto you, there's something better than fair. If we have a fair line like right here, there's an area above that about being more than fair, and there's an area below that, worse than fair. And we watch that happen all the time. People thieving from somebody else, people condemning someone else, people trying to bring drugs into our country. We have all those low-life people, we call them. Okay, but there's an area above fair. I just had a call this morning, which you mentioned, and a man said this to me. He says, Pastor, he says, I know your class is having a big lunch and things like that. He goes, I don't want anyone to pay for it. I'll just cover all the catering myself. I'm going, you're kidding me. He goes, no, I just want to be nice to somebody. And I thought, well, there's that spirit that we want people to have. Yeah. But it could be a pat on the back. It could be he'll give you rides in place. It could be offering someone a meal. It could be a lot of things. We need to get back of looking at other people and being a help to them instead of saying, what can I have myself? I think that's a big thing. We need to live outwardly, not inwardly.
Is it a dangerous time to be a Christian right now? I don't think. I mean, it is if you're. I don't. I think in Nigeria it certainly is.
Sure.
But
A
in
lot
the
of
United
countries.
States, is it still as dangerous as it may have felt a year, 2 years ago? It seems like the more Christians express themselves, the safer they are. It just feels that way. Maybe I'm wrong.
I don't know. I guess it depends on part of the country. It also depends on the situation. For example, during the October we did a holiday fest, and I think I said this once before, but there's a lot of protesters out in the street, and they were holding signs that said "No kings, no kings," and protesting. And we drove by. We just picked up some hay bales, and the man that I was with stopped the truck and just yelled out to them and says, "Hey, thanks for your expressing your First Amendment rights, and we that's amazing. We just want to tell you that Jesus is King." And all of a sudden, the whole crowd looked at us and started yelling, "You get out of you crazy Christians, expletive, expletive, expletive." And so in that sense, we better go. We better go.
Riled the lion.
We
yeah.
riled it up, but just expressing your truth and the belief and the knowledge that Jesus is King, whether we believe it or not, that people will actually either react and, "Oh, hey, brother, right on," or they'll say, "Well, you know what? This is what we believe in." So yeah, it depends on where you're at. Not so safe in Chico right now.
All right.
You asked the question, is it safe being a Christian? Yes, because we have God. And
Yeah, it's
we may
true.
be outnumbered, we're never outpowered. And God knows how to take good care of us.
Yeah.
We were going to be going to a break momentarily. One of the things I do want to talk about, and you brought it up, Pastor, when you're talking about the hail, the bales of hay.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to Christmas caroling? I haven't had a Christmas caroler in front of our door in, I think, since we moved into our new house back, which is not new anymore, back in 12 years ago. I want to see Christmas carolers. Why aren't Christmas carolers around? I want to
You
talk
do
about
that, don't you?
We do it.
Oh, well, then I'm going to give you my address. I want those Christmas carolers coming to our house. Hey,
Yeah, we love it.
Yeah.
We take our Christian school out and let the kids sing, go to nursing homes and hospitals, and
Awesome.
people love it. They just love it.
we're going to take a break. We'll be right back.